The Ballsville game presents the Mini Leagues. $4 rookie inclusive, drafted and forget it best ball tournament leagues. A low buy-in with the chance at a huge win. Leagues launching now, don't miss out. Your first stop for way too early best ball fantasy football. Go to theballsvillegame.com and sign up today.
Hello, hello, hello. What is up, Ballsville Nation? It's good to see you guys today. We are here with a bonus episode coming to you guys live on March 3rd. Gonna mop a nice little mini league draft at you guys today. We got a fast draft going. One of our mini leagues, those of you that know, it's a $4 best ball mini league. This league is super early, draft it and forget it style of fantasy football. These leagues will go through to a tournament style all the way through week 14 of the season. So they're a shorter season league as well. And they're a lot of fun. It's just a way for all of us degenerates to get out there and start drafting as early as possible so that we can come out here and just have a good time. Basically, we're going to roll through this. We were going to start this thing in about 5 minutes initially, but we needed a few more minutes to get everybody settled and ready in the draft room. So this will go off without a hitch. So we're going to go ahead and jump start time back just a little bit. And in the meantime, we'll sit here and chat with you guys and just roll through a few different things about our league and the style that we have going on here. So those of you familiar with things, we do things here on Ballsville with the same scoring system. I'm going to go ahead and bring up our league for you guys so you guys can see exactly where we are. We have quarterback changes and passing TDs and interceptions are the only real change that we have from the standard scoring settings that are available on Sleeper. So we do go up from 4 to 2 to 6 passing points for a touchdown. So you get 6 points passing TDs. And we also have a -2 for passes intercepted as opposed to -1. Otherwise, you were looking at a standard scoring system of 2-point conversions are 2 points, just like normal. Every 10 yards is 1 point in rushing. You have 6 points for rushing TDs, 2 points for rushing 2-point conversions. Receiving is pretty much the exact same scoring as the running backs. The kicking is the same. As you can tell, guys, for when it comes to receivers, this is not. Oh, I'm sorry. Receiving is the same except for the PPR. So it's not the same as running backs because they do get a point for reception as on the PPR side, guys. So just remember that standard PPR scoring for that part. Kicking is your standard 3 points for everything from 30 yards below or 39 yards or lower. 40 to 49 yards is 4 points. 50 and plus is 5 points. PATs are 1 point. Missed field goals are -1. Missed PATs are -1. We do have a team defense, so we don't do any IDP on these leagues, guys. Our team defenses are, your standard scoring setups for that. You get 10 points to start with, and 1 to 6, you lose 3 points. 7 to 13 points allowed, you lose an extra 3 more points, go down to 4 points. 14 to 20 points allowed, you go down to only 1 point, and then you start to lose points on your points allowed. From there, you get -1 for 28 to 34, and 35 plus points, you go -4. So if you were the Chiefs defense in the Super Bowl, you got -4 points. I just had to bring that up. Sorry, guys. All you Chiefs fans out there. So other than that, you got your sacks. You get 1 point for sacks. You get 2 points for picks. You get 2 points for fumble recoveries, 2 points for a safety, 1 point for a forced fumble, 2 points for a blocked kick. Special teams is always part of your defensive scoring. You get 6 points for special teams defense, 1 point for a touch fumble, and 1 point for a fumble recovery. Special teams players individually also do get points. So if you have, say, a wide receiver, for example, who is returning kicks, they will also get a touchdown, 6 points for a touchdown that they score that, as well as points for fumbles and fumble recoveries. Miscellaneous fumbles, you got -1 for the fumble. Fumbles lost are -2. Fumble TD recovered are +6. So that is our scoring. All right, all of you guys are familiar with this. I like to just read it off because it's fun to give you guys an update from time to time. But this is literally the same scoring we have for most of our leagues across the board, with the exception of our guillotine leagues and our um, new triathlon league that is coming 2025. The new revamped, exclusive to Ballsville triathlon league. So that is where we're at for this. It's going to be a 3 minute per pick draft. So this is going to go quick. You know, there is no trading in best ball drafts, so you guys know. There won't be any worries about that. And wherever we fall is where we pick, and we go from there. Hopefully, we will fill up here in just a few minutes and be able to get this thing kicked off for you guys. Our good man Alex El Presidente is in the background, guys. He is getting everything set up for us right now. So he's the one working the phones, making sure we're getting all these guys in here to get this league ready to kick off and get you guys started. So while he is doing that, we will discuss a little bit about what's going on in the NFL, right? Because we've got big news coming out of San Fran. I'm not going to go too deep into it because we will have a big discussion on this on Wednesday. But Debo moving over to the one from the best coast to the East Coast and heading on out to the Washington Commanders for a measly 5th-round pick, which, I mean, it feels like a steal if you just say it out loud, like, Debo for a 5th. That feels like a steal for any team to grab him, especially a team that's on the up and coming type of team, a team that's familiar with utilizing him based on their offensive scheme. So I definitely think that was a solid move for both teams involved, because Debo definitely needed a new home. I think that, even with him gone, Ayuk is potentially still on the trade block also. And if that happens, you're looking at the Niners going tough at wide receiver again in the draft, in my opinion. But neither here nor there on that part of it, because the main thing I want to talk about is Debo and what that means for him moving forward. So, Debo was falling quite a bit prior to all this, right, guys? Like, a lot of us were watching this. Debo was on his way down in the draft. If we look at our ADPs that we've had so far, which we've been building a spreadsheet for you guys, and come here within the next few weeks, we're going to have that available on the website for you guys. But right now, just being the one that's working on it, I can tell you that his draft stock had been sliding quite a bit up until this news came out. And now we're sitting here looking at this news going, does this mean that Debo is going to go back up into that, maybe late 5th, early 6th round pick, somewhere in that Waddle range, something like that? If that's the case, then, are you guys going to hit it up? Are you going to pass him by? Is he somebody you're now targeting where you weren't before? What does that leave you guys at as far as your Debo opinion is concerned? Because for me, I can tell you that it helps his stock, in my opinion, just because I just feel like Debo was kind of running his course a little bit out in the Niners, and I just didn't feel like they were going to make a solid effort to utilize him to the level that I think he kind of needs to be utilized, the amount of touches he needs to get to be productive at this point in his career. So, with that being the case, I think this helps him a lot, because I do think that making the move to get him, bringing him into that offense, the way that offense is built, there's plenty of room for him to be a useful piece. And I do think they will try to make sure that he gets the manufactured touches he needs to have the opportunity for those Debo type plays that, will happen. I'd say one out of every 7 plays, Debo does some sort of Debo things that is just like, okay, yeah, that's like the one person in the NFL that can do that. So, if that happens with him out there and it works out that way, I do think he is a solid player to get, especially in best ball, because Jaden Daniels is somebody you have to take early if you want him on your team. And in order to get the stack, which we all know is so important in best ball, you definitely are going to have to hope that he would drop to the bottom of like the 3rd round, because taking, Terry or him at that like 2nd round, it's, bottom of the 2nd round, that's a little difficult. And early at the top of the 3rd round, like, that would feel like a reach, right? There's probably other players out there that you would definitely want to take over them at that point. But when you get to the end of the 3rd and, you're working your way around that turn, then, that's where the potential for that stack is available to you. And Terry has not made it that far. Terry has been going closer to, early to middle of the turn right there. So, you're looking at the at the bottom of the third, early part of the fourth, at the latest early on, and now he's jumping his way back up into that other realm there. So if that's the case, then that stack is not easy to get. Terry's always going off the opposite side of the board. So for you to have that problem there, you got Debo in the background. That's perfect, man. Now you can wait it out, and if it happens, then you got Debo as your fallback, man, and you could probably snag him one round later, and use Terry as your gauge. Like, oh, Terry's gone. Now I got to take Debo this round, right? I mean, it's that easy. So for me, I'm happy with that outcome. I think that it gives you that opportunity where who else were you going to do that with in that offense? You're not going to get Ertz early. You're not going to get Diami. You're not going to go for Zacchaeus. None of those guys were guys you were going to take early enough in that draft. But Debo is somebody you can, especially with the best ball format. So, for me, I'm all for Debo in best ball now. And I think that we're going to start to see a change in his ADP accordingly because of that scenario. So, that's just my thoughts. It's not to say I'm the smartest guy in the world. I'm actually probably closer to the opposite side of the realm there than the smartest. I'm closer probably to the bottom of that. But either way, when it comes to this fantasy football stuff, that's where I would fall anyways on that side of the argument. So I can see Alex is moving right along here. Let's see where we're at as far as our players in here and get an idea on what we're looking at for this draft. It looks like we are almost full. We've got one spot remaining, ladies and gentlemen. One spot. Who's it going to be? Which one of you guys is going to jump in here and get a snag Team 12 and most likely win this dang thing? Because that's just usually how it works, right? The last guy in is the first one to win. I mean, that kind of rhymed, right? Maybe we should write that one down and save that for later. Mark that one on the old timestamp. But yeah, so it looks like Alex is going to jump in there. I wonder if he's actually going to take that spot or not. That would be kind of fun, to be honest, to have him in on this draft, see how he does. Which, by the way, ladies and gentlemen, Alex is supposed to be jumping in here with us. So at some point in the near future, we're hoping to see El Presidente on the main screen with you guys, chopping it up, coming on and working his way through this draft. So I do have myself one beer. So you guys know I did not go to the store today. I didn't stock up, like I normally would be. This was kind of a last minute bonus pod, so I don't have my beers with me. All I do have is my one pale ale golden blonde beer that was left over from my brother, who is a little bit more of a beer snob than I am. So this was his final beer in the fridge, and it's mine now. So we're going to use this one for the draft, but I'm waiting until we kick off before I crack this beer. So this is going to be kicked off, cracked open at the same time as the draft starts. So we're going to be excited about that in this household. I'll tell you that right now. Looks like we got somebody filling in. So GLC is going to jump in here as opposed to El Presidente, which is also awesome because now Alex can focus on working with us during this draft here and get things going. So we do have our 3-round draft order, and I will read off the order along with the players for you guys, and then I will pull up the draft board so you guys can see where we are at. I haven't even cracked the beer yet. I'm already fumbling over here. All right, let's do this. So to start out the draft, we're going to have Drubels 13, followed up by J Morris 410 and GLC 76 in the third spot. So, the top three are regular players. Number 4 is our main man, Jimbo's Bimbos, one of the buddies, one of the hardcore homies right there in the mix, sitting in the 4 spot. Followed up by somebody who's, I would say, a newer player. I just haven't seen their name often enough to feel like they're not a newer player. So if that's the case, awesome. I'm so glad to have you on board. It is none other than Not Goodin, which I believe is how you would pronounce that. If I am wrong, please throw up one of those dictionary style accounts on how you say that in the comments, and I will do my best. All right. I promise I will not scot it up all day long. The next player at the 6th spot is Sty Lee, which it's a Sty with a 1 and 2 E's, so I keep calling it Sty Lee because that's what I'm seeing here. So if I'm wrong there, again, also give me the dictionary breakdown and I'll do it better. Followed up in the 7th spot, we got one of our main players here, Batmax. Nice to have you here with us, guys. K Doggity Dog, we know that name, don't we, guys? He is here in the 8th spot, along with Jenny B. Following up in number 9. Jenny B's been a fun drafter in all of our drafts, so I'm excited to see her here. Short Stack 11, our local Seahawks fan. Happy to be here. Happy to have him on our team. TB76, fresh off of the hospital visit where we heard everything turned out to be great. We were so happy to hear that, my friend, and I'm glad that you are able to be here today. This is great timing. Luke McKay is going to pull out the last 12 spot. So even though GLC was the last one in, like we talked about, he got himself a nice top 3 draft slot by showing up late. So good for you, dude. I love it. So let's go to the draft room and see where we are at. And then after that, like I said, guys, Alex will be jumping in here to join us at any point in time. But we will get things kicked off here. And look at that. These guys are on a roll and on the move. They are with already the top 3 standard picks that I have pretty much seen in every league that we have done so far, guys. That is Josh Allen, Jaden Daniels, and Lamar Jackson going 1, 2, and 3. So it's normally not the same order, but it is always the 1, 2, and 3 that I have seen, with the exception of the occasional Jamar Chase sneaking his way in there. But other than that, those 3 have been pretty much the consensus top 3 in almost every draft. So I really like to see that. And then you got Joe Burrow, Jalen Hurts. So we got like a quarterback run to start it out. Nothing but pink on this draft board so far. And I'd like both those picks a lot. I think that Burrow and Hurts are definitely a good setup right there. And then Jamar Chase. I mean, honestly, guys, this is falling exactly where I have everybody ranked at this point. So, you could talk me into putting Chase ahead of Hurts, but that would be the only difference. Otherwise, you guys are literally drafted exactly how I would have my board set up. So I love it. You guys are off to a great start. So I definitely think, obviously, my favorite pick so far is always going to be Josh Allen. I love that pick. I think Jaden Daniels is a solid pick too. It's hard not to have a solid pick this early in the draft. Lamar at 3, a lot of people call that a steal. He's going 1.1 in a lot of places. So, all these guys took good players at the right spots, and nobody would have anything bad to say about their draft picks at this point. So, it's hard to hate on a top 5 pick, top 6 pick, but it does happen from time to time. Last year was a great example, right? I mean, we had the whole Christian McCaffrey scenario, right? Christian McCaffrey was the 1.1 consensus. He's going to be the best player in fantasy, yada, yada, yada. And then the guy didn't play until like week 10. And I think he played for 3 weeks and then, he was down for the count. So, it's really unfortunate because I do like him as a player. And I was victim of a lot of that too. Because if I had the 1.1, I was taking him every time. So, it happened to me as well. But that's something that we all have to deal with. At this point, I don't see a concern from any of these players. But at least last year, we knew that Christian was a potential problem with his Achilles. We don't have any issues with any of these guys at this point. So far so good, right? Next man off the board is also probably where I would have him ranked at that point would be Justin Jefferson. Bijan goes off at 8. So we're definitely moving along here, and that's our first running back off the board. So, we're definitely in a new era, huh? We got my running backs not even going off the board until the 8th spot, which is one of those consistent moves. I mean, you'll see, 1 or 2 different guys, but they'll always be right around that 7, 8, 9 range. I haven't really seen anybody jump into that top 5 for the most part. So it's definitely been kind of a quarterback receiver heavy draft season so far. All right, guys. First swig of the beer, and it's not too bad. I mean, I don't mind my blonde ales. So I'm okay with this one. I definitely think it's for what it is. And the fact that it's the last beer in the fridge, I'm definitely happy with it. All right, so then we go right back into the receiver train. So we got CeeDee Lamb and Amon Ra coming off the board. The next 2 players, followed up by Barkley at the 111 spot. So it's funny, huh? Guy goes 2,000 yards, has almost MVP like season, definitely fantasy MVP in my opinion, and he's all the way down to the 111. It's unbelievable, how much we fade these running backs now because it's really hard to find a running back that's had back to back like dominant seasons. Yeah, I think you have to go all the way back to like LaShawn McCoy, Adrian Peterson. Maybe you could say the homeboy from the Steelers for a while there. Le'Veon had a couple of seasons in a row, I feel like, but for the most part, you really don't get that like back-to-back RB1 season out of anybody. So it's really hard to like say, oh yeah, I'm definitely taking him 1.1 next year. It's like, dude, you could pass on Barkley for another running back, and I would not fault you one bit. And speaking of, not being faulted one bit, at 112 with the last pick in the first round, Puka Nakua off the board. A guy that a lot of people were calling the second, potential wide receiver too, is off the board all the way down at the bottom of the round. Followed up by another guy who people are calling up potential wide receiver or running back one is Jameer Gibbs. And you could easily swap Gibbs and Robinson, and I wouldn't fault you for either one of those plays. So, looking at the way this board's fallen, Luke, you definitely got a couple of solid picks on the turn there like that. I really like where you're going with that. Definitely good moves there. I can't say that anybody had an amazing pick in that first round. For value wise, everybody kind of took a player where they've been mostly going. I could reach and say that Puka would probably be the best value bang for buck if you look at it that way, but I really don't think it's by far at all. It's just because you have to pick somebody, right? When you get into round two, you got Jameer Gibbs, AJ Brown, Brock Bowers, and Bo Nix is 1 through 4 there going at the top of the second round. Bo Nix, man, now that's a player that is on the ADP rise, man. I mean, that guy is skipping rungs on ladders. He is just jumping up the ladder. So, it's crazy to me. I mean, you look at this point, you got him going at quarterback 6 right now, right? I mean, QB 6, that to me is high for a guy that I'm just still not sold on that he's going to make that type of impact fantasy wise, right? I know that he's got a lot of rushing upside, but I mean, how where do you have him over a guy like May, right? And I know May's coming on to way worse offense, doesn't have Sean Payton helping him out, that kind of thing. But I mean, I think Drake May has a little bit higher of an upside. And then you look at the next guy off the board, Patrick Mahomes. I can't take Knicks over Mahomes, man. I'm sorry. Mahomes had one down season, but he's really consistent top 10 than that. So it's hard for me not to just go with that consistent guy. Not to hate your pick, Jenny. Definitely don't want you to hate me for hating on your pick here because Knicks could easily make me look like an idiot. And he's got that potential for sure. I just don't know if I trusted enough to take him at that point at QB 6. That's all I'm saying there. Especially the way the board's fallen, I might, if I really wanted him to. I mean, there's a chance he might have fallen back to you, seeing how the way the board goes with the rest of these guys and what they decide to do. I only say that now because, obviously we know that that's not going to have an option to happen. But had you not taken him, had we not talked about him, who knows how far he might have fallen. We'll see, right? I know I get you. QB7 last year, I get it. I'm not arguing you like that. He's not potential there. I just don't know if I take him over Mahomey. That's all. That's all. I do like the fact that he's got what do you call it? High powered kind of offensive guru is where I was looking for, an offensive guru. Mentality, a coach. I really do think that's going to help him a lot, especially a guy who knows how to maximize his talents. But I don't know if it's worth that at this point, Jenny. That's all. It's just my opinion, and I just don't feel that way. But like I said, I could be an idiot very, very easily. Garrett Wilson. Let's talk about Garrett Wilson going off the board right after Patrick in the 2-6 spot. Wilson is a guy that's been dropping quite a bit, between him and AJ Brown, coming off the board where they did. I'm a little surprised because they have been dropping pretty consistently in a lot of these drafts, especially over a guy like Neighbors. Neighbors has been going a lot earlier, and those two guys have been kind of consistently falling. So for me, yeah, I think that I don't hate those two players at all. I think the value with those two players is there. I just don't know 100% if it's in here. And by the way, guys, I'm doing my best not to look at the available players on this list because I do not want to sway anybody's opinion one way or the other, since I know a lot of you are probably listening. But I'm not 100% that I can't pull that list up right now and give you 4 names that I would have taken over Garrett Wilson right in that 2-6 spot. But I think Garrett Wilson is a great player, and the fact that he's been dropping like he has, shoot, that's another guy. Maybe you wait one round and he comes back to you in the 3-7 hole. There's potential for that anyway. I like Nico. I think Nico is a guy, now that he's off the board, I would have taken over him. I definitely agree with that. Brian Thomas is another one I see. So I didn't want to name names and stuff, but that's definitely 2 guys that I would have put in ahead of him at this point in time. just especially Nico, because I do feel like there'll be a turnaround in that offensive scheme. And Nico is a beast, man. If Diggs doesn't come back, even if he does, Dell's still, got his injury, and who knows how long it's going to take for him to get back to form. So Nico, to me, man, is going to be the engine that drives that offense. They'll lean on Nixon, but I don't think it's going to be like it was this year. I think they're going to open up that offense again. They'll get an offensive line protection, and they'll help CJ have more time. And once that happens, he'll get comfortable again and start putting that ball where it needs to be. So, that's my opinion. Everybody's got their own opinion on where that offense is going to go. Just talking to a buddy earlier today, Trevor. You know who you are out here bad about how that offense is never going to turn it around. But that's something that we'll have to find out in come the beginning of the season. And look at this, ladies and gentlemen, special guest jumping in here. Our good old buddy, Ludes for Sale. What is up, my friend?
Good evening, everybody. Trying to do double duty, check out the pod a little bit, and give Clem some support, and trying to watch Venom at the same time, number 2.
The second Venom or the third Venom?
I don't know, what is this one? Second or third?
I have no idea. It's brand new.
The Last Dance, it's called.
Oh, that's the third one. That is the new one. Yes, sir. That's a
Yep.
good one. I mean, I liked it. A lot of people were talking bad about it, but I always liked the Venom character. He was one of my favorite characters. So I give that movie a little bit more love, I think, than a lot of people do because of that.
Yeah, so I don't know. I just wanted to pop in. Well, I'm not going to be staying too long, but I see you got Cyborg in there, and Alex is in there. Short stack.
Yeah, we got Cyborg, Short Stack,
Jenny
Stylie.
B. Stylie. That's a new one, huh?
Yeah, Jenny B's in here too. Yep, you're right. We got a lot of new peeps in this. This is all Jenny B and Stylie are both in the league right now, drafting too. So we got a lot of people in here that are in the draft also. So it makes it a lot of fun here. And then we got Trevor jumping in here just so that he could come in and say, how wrong I am about my Houston Texans opinion.
Well, I see the draft board is kind of how usually I like to do it. Looks like pretty quarterback heavy early. Looks like went Jamar, which I've actually seen Jamar a little more earlier in the first round because quarterbacks seem to fall a little bit later in the late second. But it looks like he went a little farther. JJ right after him, which is status quo. And then I noticed it was quarterbacks kind of fell off a little bit, and then they really fell off in the late second. So kind of pretty interesting there.
Absolutely. What did you think of Knicks over Mahomes?
No.
See, we're not hating on you, Jenny. It's just that we definitely don't have him that high.
I like Knicks. I mean, I like his rushing floor. I mean, he's going to get you more rushing floor than Mahomes, but not saying there's going to be a sophomore slump, but you never know. I mean, look at CJ Stroud. I mean, everybody thought he was the next god, and he had a sophomore slump. So defenses are going to figure out Bo Nix. They're going to figure out his tendencies, and he may get dialed back a little bit in year 2.
Yeah, I mean that happens with a lot of quarterbacks. It's not to say that he's not going to have a great career. Just that second season, they always seem to kind of have a little bit more on their plate than they're anticipating, and maybe they come in with a little bit more of a bigger head than they did as a rookie, and maybe slightly not work as hard, or things just aren't quite as easy, and they don't know how to really adjust yet. So that's something that I definitely think could happen to him as well. It's very possible. Same, I mean, Jaden Daniels is another one too. He's going in the top 3 pretty much consistently, and and not to say that it's going to happen, but the potential's there for a sophomore slump, just like it is for anybody else.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%. I mean, it's kind of hard to have a better year than he had last year. But these quarterbacks, this is the NFL, and the NFL, these teams are smart. They'll make adjustments. They'll find your weaknesses and they'll exploit them. So I want to answer. Cyborg in the chat. He asked about Trevor Lawrence. I'm actually not done with him. With the new coaching change, I'm going to probably buy him, especially at a reduced rate. He was on tape. I know it's just coach speak, but he did say that he wants to run the offense through Brian Thomas Jr., which obviously, the quarterback's got to get him the ball. So what he did in Tampa, I really liked. So can he transition that over to the Jags? I guess we'll wait and see. But I'm going to buy. I mean, T. Law was a number 1 overall pick. He's had some coaching changes and different coordinators, and so I'm going to give him one more shot at a reduced rate, and then if it doesn't happen this year, then we might be out on him. What up, Alex?
How's it going, guys?
There he is. What's up, El Presidente?
Hey,
yeah,
have
I'm with you
fun,
on
man.
that.
A little impromptu
Yeah,
draft,
right.
huh?
Bonus pod. Cheers to the bonus pod.
Yeah.
Hey,
so,
that was pretty cool. The everybody came together and stuff, and jumped in last minute. We got like 7 people for 5 spots. So thanks to everybody that joined up.
Yeah, appreciate you guys, man, coming in to make this happen. This is something that we didn't anticipate. I think we kind of came up with this idea this morning, and here we are throwing it together last minute, and everybody else jumping in to help us make it happen. We really do appreciate you guys. Speaking of, we're down to the 3 rounds are up, so we've got the 3rd round. We'll finish up the 2nd round after Brian Thomas. It was Drake London, Lad McConkey, and Ashton Denty. And then you had Terry McLaurin starting the 3rd round, which we just talked about, that stack potential like that, right? So that's a scenario right there where do you take Terry in that 211 spot to make sure you get him to stack him or not? But, he didn't make it around him, which I think that might be closer to the earliest time I've seen Terry go, to be honest. I think he's usually dropped a little bit farther down to the bottom of that round for me. But, I could be mixing him up a little bit with my dynasty drafts too.
So I'm kind of looking at the board right here, and there's one thing that's kind of, I don't know if it's a concern to me, but it's a little alarming, and that's the rise of Bucky Irving. I do like Bucky Irving a lot. I liked him out of college, but him going ahead of Derrick Henry, especially in a best ball, Breece Hall, Jonathan Taylor. I mean, these are elite running backs. And I just don't see. I mean, I can see the upside in Bucky Irving, but in a best ball format where you only need the guy for 1 year, nice. I think I would rather go to the proven commodity. What about you guys?
I'm with you, 100%. I would have taken Henry, Taylor, or Achane probably over Bucky, and potentially Kyron too. To be honest with you,
I mean, these guys have the backfields to themselves. You still got Rasheed White, to deal with. It's a new coaching change, so you don't know how that's gonna shake up. So I just want the proven commodity, the guy that's going to get me those guaranteed points every week. But don't get me wrong, I do love Bucky Irving, especially in Dynasty. I mean, like I said, I loved him out of college. It just in this format, I don't know if I'd go. I'm definitely not going to go him over those other elite backs.
Yeah, no, I'm with you, man. I'm with you.
Bucky Irving Dynasty ADP, according to our Dynasty leagues, is at 33, and he's one of those players like in the 3rd round. There's so much value out there. I'd rather grab a quarterback if I can, or an elite wide receiver. That's just too high for me.
Yeah.
Look at Jay Morris says you can hate on his Bucky pick. He's playing the PPR upside game. Foo. I added the food.
As far as running backs go this year, I mean, they're flying off the board, and then you're looking at like James Conner, Joe Mixon in the 4th and 5th if you're lucky.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I think, like Scott said, I mean, I'm taking any one of those next 5 backs, I think, over Bucky. Not to say that it's like a reach to take him where he took him. I just think I like the other backs over him is all. Bucky's farther down on my rankings, but, I just don't – I think I fade that team in general a lot in the preseason just because I don't really have the full confidence that they're going to be as good, and then they always end up being better than I anticipated. So that could easily come back to be the case again, and Bucky is right where he's supposed to be.
I mean, I think you're going to love this take, Sean, but I'm James Cook is kind of growing on me. I mean, where he's getting drafted, I think it's kind of disrespectful.
Well, my thought with James is I agree with you as far as actually being like where he needs to be drafted and his ability. I just don't think he's staying in Buffalo. And, and that's just my opinion based on everything that's going on with him and what he wants for his contract and the way Buffalo is with the running back position and the fact that they've got Ray, who's already looking, like he could do a decent enough job in at minimum a committee. So, I don't see the Bills spending the money to keep James Cook, and James Cook's not going to be there. So if he doesn't go to a team that's going to utilize him the way he should be utilized, then I'd be concerned in a dynasty world for James Cook. This year, best ball all day. Best ball, no problem. I take him over Bucky, I think, honestly, because I like the offensive potential a lot better.
So who's picking 11, 10, 9, 8? Who's picking 7? I can't see. Who is that?
In the 7 spot? Okay,
Yeah.
7 spot is Batmax.
I'll tell you what, for having a non-quarterback team, I love that. I love those first 4 picks. I mean, I love JJ, Garrett Wilson,
you're looking at Brees Hall
and Cook.
Would you rather have Brees Hall or Kyron, though? I think I might rather have Kyron.
I think with Matt Stafford coming back, I'd rather have Kyron, but I still think it's a great 4 picks.
I'm also with you on the Brees Hall, also because he's got Garrett Wilson on that team, and that's a lot of Jets on one team. You know what I'm saying? Like top end Jets, I should say, like your top end players. You taking 2 Jets out of your top 4 players. That's
you guys saw that the Jets might release a Devontae Adams, right?
Oh, that's definitely going to happen. He's not getting traded. Nobody's going to trade for him. So he's going to end up getting released, and then he'll pick his destination, and he'll probably just sit in San
It could be a target funnel, which might be the key for Brees Hall.
Yeah, I think I don't mind the double tap on the Jets, just because I think, like I was talking to Sean off air earlier today, the Jets they're done with this quarterback issue thing. They're either going to go out and get a proven veteran to come in, not an old creaky Aaron Rodgers. They're going to go get somebody else, or they're going to go after Sanders or Ward, bring them in. They still have a young enough team. They can build around the new quarterback. And so like Alex said, it could be a target funnel with Brees Hall and Garrett Wilson. They're saying Tyler Conklin's not going to be back. There's no number 2 receiver there as of right now. So I could see a lot of dump offs to Brees Hall and a lot of Garrett Wilson over 100 catches this year.
Yeah, but who's throwing the rock?
Well, I mean, like even if they brought in Sanders or Cam Ward, I mean, I don't think we've seen rookie quarterbacks come in and, even on a bad team. I mean, look what Daniel Jones wasn't a rookie quarterback, but I mean, what he did with, Malik Neighbors and even the backups that went in there, they still targeted the guys a ton. So I think if they brought in Sanders or Ward, to me, I think it's an upgrade. It would be an upgrade over Aaron Rodgers. I mean, Aaron Rodgers is done.
Yeah, Aaron Rodgers is definitely like over the hill at this point. I don't know. Whoever brings him in, I feel like is, they're going to have no choice but to try to bring in Devontae also. And the money they're going to have to spend to get both those players, and the outcome, I think, is going to be so much worse than they anticipate. Like, I feel so bad for whoever is a fan of the team that ends up taking that leap.
I mean, I'm not going to say mark my words or anything, but Devontae Adams wants to go back to the West Coast. So I could totally see him possibly making a play and wanting to go to the Chargers. I mean, he's been linked to the Chargers. I've heard wants to be back on the West Coast. He's not going to play with it for a non-elite quarterback anymore. I think it would be a great fit in L.A. You can move McConkey to the slot. Quentin Johnson can't catch the ball. So I think that would be a great fit in L.A.
Yeah, I mean, I definitely agree. But does Devontae Adams want to not go where Aaron goes? I mean, I don't know.
I think he's tired of him now. I mean, look what happened when he moved to the Jets. I mean, it was awful. I mean,
he's not going to blame that on Aaron. Guarantee he's not blaming that on Aaron.
Yeah, but he's got. So I mean, he's got to look at his own legacy. I mean, do you want what do you want to do? You want to finish your career playing for a non-playoff team, or do you want to go to a playoff team with a good quarterback and a good coach that's been to the Super Bowl before?
Right.
Do you guys know what Hopkins signed with the Chiefs for?
Aaron goes to the Raiders.
Like something like whatever Hopkins did to get on the Chiefs. I don't know what that contract was, but something like that. You're talking.
Yep.
He's going to demand more than what Hopkins got.
No.
I don't know. I mean, I think if these players sometimes they get to a point in their career where they just want to win. They made a ton of money.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy had enough money to put a Taco Bell in his house. So I mean, if you got that kind of money,
It's a commercial, Scott.
I mean, but seriously though, I mean, if the guy can put a Taco Bell in his house,
I mean, they all have enough money to put a Taco Bell in their house. Like
exactly. So my point my point is that you can't spend all the money. You can't take it with you in the next life. So these guys want to win and they want to go out on top. So I can't see him going to another crappy team.
Well, I mean, I'm with you on that. We'll table that conversation until we see what happens. But I definitely feel like that. I think Rodgers' destination is going to have a lot to do with what happens with him. So we'll see. And I doubt it's going to be San Diego, LA with Herbert there. There's no way Rodgers signs there. So, depending on what happens with Adams, I really do think that Chargers are off the table just because of that alone.
I think Rodgers is finished. I don't think anybody signs him. I don't think anybody wants that headache. Look what he did what he did in New York. He totally just destroyed any chances of that team winning anything.
If you look at his play of that game in that season, he really didn't play that bad in the season. So the teams are going to look at him and be like, I can still get something out of this guy. And there's going to be a team. There's going to be a team out there that's going to do it. I mean, shoot, the
Cyborg says Rodgers is done.
Yeah, he's done. And, he wants to be Brady so bad, like Cyborg said, but he's never going to be Brady. I mean, his career's over. It's done. You won one Super Bowl. Congratulations.
Yeah, instead of avocado, he went with ayahuasca.
You know who else won one Super Bowl? Trent Dilfer won a Super Bowl. Jim Plunkett won a Super Bowl. I mean, there's a lot of guys that won one Super Bowl. So,
hey, can we talk about this draft again, guys? Let's get back to the draft here.
Yeah, I've been itching to get back to this draft. You guys have Sean? Who's your favorite pick? I know you're looking at, or who's your favorite team, real quick, after 5 rounds?
Let's see here. Let's see. Well, let's give it a second to see what happens with Batmax and with Stiley, because they both got no quarterbacks yet, and we'll see if they decide to take one here or not.
Well, no, just count 5 rounds only. I guess it's kind of biased. I don't know what quarterbacks are left out there.
There's really not a lot left, and now they both kind of stuck themselves in a corner at this point. But we'll let them figure that out. Oh, there goes one, Bryce Young. So I definitely like that pick for them too at that point, as far as the quarterbacks that are left. So I think Batmax, if he'd have taken Bryce Young, I would have easily went with that team. But since he didn't, I'm gonna go ahead and go. Damn, dude, this is not an easy one, but I think I'm gonna go with TB76, man. I like that he got Saquon, AJ, and JSN in that 3, and then was still able to snag CJ Stroud on the way back around. And I think that AR is a good pick where he got him. So I think I'll go with that team at this point. How about you?
So it for me, it's hard to isolate one team yet, but as far as the build goes, I'm gonna go with K-Dog. I think he got the last of what could be an excellent quarterback in Jordan Love. I mean, Tua is there. We'll say Tua is that, but the last of the quarterback security to pair with Mahomes, that's a great start. If McCaffrey puts up, even moderate numbers, say he's an RB2, you still got Bijan there. And now we'll see what he does at wide receiver, but I like that start. Trey McBride, I mean, that's a step.
No, you're right. And snagging Rashee Rice and getting that Mahomes Rice stack is a really solid snag too, I think.
Definitely. We'll see what else he does here. I don't want to say too much about strategy at this point because they're still at it.
Right. What do you think, Scott?
Who's picking 12?
Luke McKay.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I like his team. I mean, you got Puka, you got two good backs in Gibbs and Williams. And then the quarterbacks, if I can't see right, it looks like you got what? Murray,
Tua, and Stafford.
I would have personally, I was fine with Stafford because he stacked him with Puka. But I think instead of Tua, I might have just gambled and just went with the huge upside in Richardson.
Yeah, especially if I'm going to snag Stafford.
If you're going to get 3 quarterbacks.
Yeah, if you know you're taking 3 quarterbacks, also, you might as well.
Yeah, if I'm taking 3 quarterbacks, I want to make sure I get the 2 good ones, which he did, and then I want to go with like an upside play as my 3rd quarterback in Richardson.
Shout out to Jay Morris's team too, starting with Daniels and then hitting McConkey all the way at the 211, which is pretty late for him. Well, it's on par, but it feels like he could go anywhere. I saw him go in the first earlier today.
I like his team a lot, with the exception of that Bucky Irving pick.
Well,
to say that, but that's the only pick. If you picked one of those other backs, then he would have been right there at the top spot, I think.
Look at the value on Tyreek Hill. You guys know he's a 2nd-round pick, right?
Yeah, that's crazy right there.
I auto-selected him and I timed out and auto-picked him in the 2nd round.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah. I didn't take it back either because that's abuse of powers.
Well, we offered it to you, but by the time you got in there, it was like 6 picks later, and it was like, okay, now you're looking at like jumping back a bunch to change it out, and it looks bad.
Hey, you know what I was working on during that time when I auto-picked, dude? I got knee deep into the into our promotional video for our triathlon game.
Oh, you started out that sentence, and it sounded so much scarier.
Yeah. Hey, guys, I'm gonna bug out, but cause me and the wife want to catch a movie, but I just wanted to say, Alex, that promo video for the triathlon, I keep watching it over and over again. It's really.
I have it loaded right here. We can show it real quick to anybody.
Yeah, show it real quick before I take off. All right, this is for our new triathlon, guys. That was great, man. If that doesn't
so good.
If that doesn't get you fired up, I don't know what's going to get you fired up. So good. So good.
Oh, man.
Yeah, I can't wait till those things launch up and we start filling those. That was super hype.
Thank you guys. It was super fun to make that. I got so deep into it, and then that's why I auto picked in like 3 leagues. To be honest, it was actually my day off.
It was worth it.
So basically, so you guys know, Scott is handling the Egyptians. I am the Greeks, and Alex is the Romans.
Yeah.
So when you guys get ready to join those leagues, that's who's going to be overseeing each division. So come join my Greek squad, baby.
You got to amass your own army, man. We're all going to be recruiting for our own.
The Greek squad is here, baby.
Yep.
Oh, that's cool.
Maybe we'll do something a little promotion or a little giveaway at the end of the year on which gods teams came out the best.
So Scott, we'll let you go, but picturing it, it's going to be pretty cool to have like in essence, we'll have our own champions that'll be facing off from our own leagues. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah, no, it's gonna. I'm really excited about the triathlon. I mean, I think that's gonna be the biggest. I'm letting you people know this. That's gonna be the new biggest game in fantasy sports is the triathlon, and we're gonna be we'll be the pioneers for it.
And if we had to put like a date on it, so
this baby out of our bodies and created this game for you.
Dynasty should be situated right after the NFL draft. Everybody should be ready to roll on their rookie drafts, and when we have like a gap, April 1st is like the pay-in deadline, and then we have to replace orphans. But as soon as orphans are done, between then and the rookie drafts for Dynasty, that's going to be our window to kick off this triathlon game. So it's going to be probably mid-April. We should have everything ready to go, and then you guys can join and fill them up. It'll be a good time.
All right, guys, it's Venom time. I'll talk to you guys.
No, don't do that. Don't watch Venom. I can't let you.
Don't tell him. Just let him watch it. Let him watch it, Alex. What is wrong with you? Don't be doing that. Spoiler alert.
Spoil the fun.
Scott, get out of here before he ruins it.
All right, I'm out of here. Later, guys.
Bye, Scott. Apologize to your wife for us.
Why are you hating on my Venom movies? I know this one was bad, but don't tell him that.
Oh man, I was trying to save him. Oh well.
Man. Now that we went on our whole sidetracks here, let's look back at our teams again because these guys are just moving right along over here. There's a guy. We'll go back to round 5 real quick because there's a guy that we didn't talk about that I think is a steal. Is T. Higgins? He got franchise tagged, right? So he's going to stay in Cincy. And so, you're taking him at the 5 spot with Burrow as your starting quarterback, getting that stack. I think Jimbo made a really solid play right there, snagging Higgins at that point.
In the 5th?
Yeah, at 5-4.
That's cool. That is a good pick. Higgins has been rising. I can't remember what I got him for, but I know it wasn't the 5th. I think I got him in the 5th in a dynasty startup.
Yeah, that's a steal, I think.
What do you think of Olave down at the 5'11"?
So to me, that's a tough one because I don't know if the man's going to really play a full season. And with what's going on with that team and their quarterback situation and new coach and being a best ball league, I think I probably would have went a different route than him, like Devontae Smith, the next receiver off the board. I think I would have taken over Olave just because I feel like the consistency factor is there for him and more so than it would be for Olave. And when you're talking a top 5, 5th round pick, top 5 player for you, it's hard to take a guy that I'm that concerned about as far as health.
So if you follow the receivers on the draft board, I like Rashee Rice where he's
Me
at.
too.
I like Devontae Smith where he's at. But right after that, like going down Sutton, Samuel, Flowers, maybe not Odunze, but certainly above Reed, Jerry Jeudy, Waddle, and maybe even Metcalf around that turn. I think those are the 3 of the biggest values in these drafts that are going on early.
Yeah. No, I definitely think that I agree with you on that. And I think that a couple of those players are a victim of the ADP setup that's in sleeper right now, I think, because it really does. It's hard, even when you're drafting in a bunch of these like we all are. It's still hard not to get hit with the ADP bug sometimes and like miss a player that you would have snagged if he wasn't sitting in some weird random spot way down in the ADP like he shouldn't be. So that happens to all of us, even though we know to be ready for it. And I could see that with a guy like Waddle and Addison specifically, they're dropping down there because people are just overlooking them. I think because of that horrible setup right now, which we all know that'll make a couple months down the road, and all of a sudden the ADPs will get their crap together and they'll work themselves out. But
So here's
we
one
always
for you,
do this
Shawnee.
every year.
You see that little corner between Addison, Pittman, Judy, Waddle, Ayuk, and Metcalf?
Yeah,
How would you order those 6?
I'd probably go Ayuk, Waddle, Judy, Addison, Pittman, Metcalf, or at Metcalf, Pittman. That's probably what I would do. So I'd probably have Ayuk first, Waddle second, Addison third, or Judy third, Addison fourth, Metcalf fifth, Pittman sixth.
I think I would. I agree with your order, except I would put Ayuk from the 1st to the 4th spot. For me, it would go at that portion. I'd probably take Waddle, Judy, Metcalf, Ayuk, Addison, Pittman. So same order other than Ayuk.
Yeah, I see what
I
you're
like
saying.
Judy a lot.
And Metcalf and Addison, you'd have switched because I have Metcalf in 5.
Oh, okay, yeah, perhaps.
But yeah, it's still, like you said, it's pretty close to the same though, other than that. So
Okay,
yeah,
what
that's
else
not
you
too
see?
bad. I mean, that's we're all kind of in the same boat. I mean, where do you think a guy like Godwin should fall after what happened last season? I mean, to say he's going to come back healthy, we don't know 100%, but all signs are pointing towards him playing at least most of the season, if not all of it. So, do you think he's somebody that should be up there? I mean, this guy was top 5 in the league before he got hurt.
Yeah, definitely. But it is just another injury, and that was a sad injury too, because I won my week on that play and I lost my league on that play because I lost Godwin after losing Rice. It was over.
Brutal.
If he returns to any portion of his form, then I think it's a bargain pick, but I don't think the odds are of that happening. I like McMillan, but I think that would be too early to take McMillan. I don't see really anybody that screams out, that needs to come off the board before him. So I think it's a pretty good place to take him.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I mean, I think he would have gone. I could have taken him above Pittman and been okay with that. I could see somebody taking him above like Reed because Reed's so hit or miss. I'd be okay with that. I think it's hard to put him above some of the other players that are almost guaranteed targets. And health is not as big of an issue for them. But I
Yeah.
like him a lot. I think he's overlooked. I think he's a guy that could turn around to be like the type of player that wins you leagues because where you were able to pick him up.
Yeah, that's a good point, especially in best ball, where you don't have to deal with the injury weeks.
Exactly. And you look, he's got the Baker Godwin stack. So, if those two stay healthy and they play similar to the way they played early in the year, then you're looking at, quite a few fantasy points on your roster regularly.
I might be able to argue him to go after the 6-pack in Pittman's place. So like number 6 out of that 6-pack of receivers we just talked about.
Yeah, I could see that too. And then I do think that you're kind of hitting a tier break too for me. So like I would say that out of the receivers, I would probably take Pittman, Metcalf and drop them out of the same tier. And I would have Judy, Ayuk, Waddle, Addison as a tier. And then the next tier, I would have like a Pittman, Metcalf, Godwin, McMillan, Pickens. You know what I'm saying? So like that's kind of how I would like group them, I guess, per se, rather than trying to say like this guy over this guy. It would be like this tier over that tier.
Well, this portion of the draft, like this round, Godwin up until where Henderson went, like I think that's kind of the range where you start looking at these rookie running backs and start trying to pick out your favorite and maybe risk a pick. For Omarion Hampton, who went 2 rounds earlier, but if you have any favorites,
Henderson, going in the next round. So yeah, I see exactly what you're saying.
Yeah, for anybody watching, we keep track of these draft boards. Sean and I had done some work along with Daniel to that's D-Pain, who we don't see often. He's busy, he's got babies and stuff, but shout out to Daniel. We put together ADP, and we actually have like a rookie ADP that we've had developed for the last couple of days, but we're saving it for Wednesday's podcast, and we'll kind of go over where the rookies were before the combine. And then Scott and Sean will talk about the combine itself, and then we'll probably pull up some draft boards to see what rookies have risen up. But we had about 2.5 rounds worth of rookies on our ADP board from these drafts. So about 30 players.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome. We got quite a bit of players on there. We're gonna have like a full ADP list for you guys. It's gonna be really badass in a couple weeks. As soon as we get a little farther along in some of these drafts that are currently going on. So now that we're at the end of round 10, before we talk about anything else too specific, let's run through and pick your team that you think is the overall so far top team that you would take. You know, if you had a choice between any of these squads, who's the one that you want to roll with so far?
So talking about Chris Godwin, I was looking at that roster, and I think that's a pretty solid roster. You got Kamara and Chuba, who are most likely going to be the RB1s on their team. You got Amarion Hampton backing him up, who should shine. I think I heard before last year there was like an average of 2 rookies that were on the top 12 list each year. So rookies had a pretty high success rate to be an RB1. So it's just a matter of picking them out. So I think that's a solid RB room. And Godwin, if he comes back to form, you're going to have a solid running back room, and he's got, quarterback, security, and an elite and Jalen Hurts. So, there's a lot of things that could bounce in his favor. That's a pretty solid roster there.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think he did a pretty solid job there building that team out and taking the flyers right at the right times, and then taking the solid points at the right times based on how the draft board was working out. So I definitely think he did a good job there. For me, if I had to snag one squad and roll with them, I think I'm going to go with GLC 7-6 in the 3-hole. The reason I say that is because I really, really like his first 5 picks right out the gate. Jackson, London, Achane, Harrison, Walker, I think are solid picks for the time that he got them. And, they could really be super high scores for him. And then I think JJ McCarthy has potential to be in the top 10 quarterbacks if he's healthy. So that's, I think, a really solid second quarterback to snag at the time that he got him, especially being as late as it was with all the other guys that went off the board between him and Jackson. And then, he comes back around. He still snags the guy who's been dropping quite a bit that I think carries a lot of value, especially in this type of league, is Zay Flowers. And then Mark Andrews as his tight end 1 in the 8th round, with Andrews potentially coming.
I love that value.
Yeah, it's so good. And then McMillan, I think, is, he's the only receiver that they're talking about as a game changer in the draft this year. So getting him at that point in the draft, you could look at a Neighbors type season maybe out of a guy like that. You never know, right? That might be asking a lot, but it's in the 9th round. I mean, that'd be awesome. And then Najee, who's, still RB1 on his teams potentially. And Russell's going to have a starting job, which I think will be in Las Vegas, is my honest opinion. I think he'll reunite with Pete Carroll and come to Vegas. But either way, he's going to be starting. So to get a starter third quarterback in the 11th round, I love it. I think you did a good job.
Well, it's a good looking team, but if we have any kind of downfall of Russell Wilson and McCarthy's failure to launch, then he could be in trouble, and that's trouble that could end your season.
That's true.
We talked about him earlier, but Luke McKay. He's over here at the 12 spot, and he started off with Nakua and Gibbs, which is pretty solid. And then, we talked about him earlier pulling that third quarterback, but he filled out his roster well, I think, following up with Judy and Waddle, elite running backs, quarterback security. And he's got a pretty solid, Pearsall and Downs in his flex spots. That's pretty solid wide receiver depth. I think he's made good picks from the 12 spot.
I agree. I think he's got a good team. I worry because in best ball, I like a little bit more running back insurance in best ball. And at this point in the draft, unless he's going to start snagging some handcuff opportunities, then he's going to be hurting if one of his running backs is hurting. But other than that, I do like a lot of the players he got, and the value he got him at was really, really good.
One thing I see is the value on short stack. He got Chase Brown as his running back 1, but he got him as the RB17, it looks like, and our ADP has him going as the RB13. That ADP is dynasty, so it doesn't include rookies. But it looks like only Genty went before him, so it'd still be the 16. So I think that's a pretty good value there.
Yeah, no, I agree. I think he's been going off the board a lot earlier, and he kind of got slept on a little bit in this draft, which was worked out really well for him.
He follows it up with
Ramondre
Stevenson, but
I like that pick,
how he
though. Where he's getting taken in this point. I mean, you're talking about Mike Vrabel, who coached Derrick Henry and through all them seasons. So I think Ramondre has an opportunity to be a really solid player this year, and where you're picking him up, it's a steal if he comes in and plays well.
I think Luke just had another hit right now with that Charbonnet pick. I mean, that's a great value. I'd rather have Charbonnet than Isaiah Likely. If he had Charbonnet as his third running back, short stack, I think that team looks hella solid because I like his wide receiver picks.
Yeah, no, I'm with you. I definitely think that the I would have backed up because he went back-to-back tight end right now, and I probably would have, like you said, taken one back, one tight end at least. If I'm going to back up a position, with a double stack, I would have double tapped running back and not tight end and waited on tight end. So I can get why, though, because he's looking at the high upside potential of those two big plays, because those two both do have big play potential. So I can understand why you went that route in this type of a league with the best ball format. But to me, I think the running back room needs to be more solidified than the tight ends, because you have to play two of them instead of like tight end. You only need to play one. And you've got Brock Bowers. So Bowers is like a wide receiver in that offense. The odds of any of those two tight ends beating Bowers is tough. So, for me,
definitely.
I think I take
They'd be flexing in at best.
Yeah, at least one. Like you said, at least Charbonnet or Warren over Likely right there. And then if you wanted to take Likely or Kraft at the next one, okay, I can understand it. But at least take one of the running backs.
I still got to look at Kincaid and see him as a value just because, personal bias. We think we both had him up there in the 4th round last year.
Yeah.
So we gotta argue Kincaid as a value. I think Luther Burden's going to be a guy that shoots up this draft board. I mean, he's going to be up there as soon as he lands on a team. I think everyone's just waiting for, what team he's going to land on, but I could see him jumping up there like in the 8th round or so.
Speaking of jumping up, we had our first combine effect draft pick, I think, too, with Marcus Golden going off the board at 10-7. I think that's our first effect. That's our first legitimate Ballsville combine affected draft pick right there.
Oh, 100%. I can guarantee you he is not on our rookie ADP.
Not yet, but he will be.
I actually have it open right here. I can look.
Yeah, I think that was definitely
I lied.
Right there, kicking in for sure.
I lied. So. He's there. He was 1, 2, 3, 4. He looks like he was sitting at the 16th spot, so he was there in the 2nd round.
That's awesome. Yeah, these guys definitely are going to move up draft boards now that we're getting closer to moving forward with a lot of the scuttlebutt on how things are going to play out. And then, by not this pod, but the following pod, we're going to be having ourselves a nice little free agency podcast, because it'll be after the start of the new league year. I think it'll be the day of the start of the new league year, if I'm not mistaken, Wednesday afternoon. So that might be a really fun, interesting pod episode right there. You guys better join us for it.
Yeah, we're going to have lots of cool stuff. And also, the 12 players that are in this league, like we advertise this as a bonus league, and we were supposed to pick a number before we did the triple shuffle to get one of you guys a free entry. So that didn't work out. So we'll find a new way. On the podcast we'll do a little.
I can do a spin for them we can do a spin before we end the episode and put their names in the drawing wheel.
Yeah, you could just put numbers 1 through 12, and whoever's in that. Yeah, make it easy on yourself. Yeah, we can do that.
Oh, yeah, that's easy peasy, baby. I'll just do it. I won't see you while I'm doing it, but I'll do it.
Yeah, coming through in the clutch. That's fine.
Oh, yeah. That's
anything
for our members, man.
Jenny B calls you out and says, no way Russ and Pete reunite.
What? You telling me you don't think that's going to happen, Jenny? Come on. You know that.
Didn't they have bad blood?
I don't know if they had bad blood per se. I think it kind of just went to the point where it was, we need to just kind of go our separate ways. This isn't going to work anymore. Kind of the same thing that happened with Brady and Belichick. I honestly think so. I don't see any reason why they wouldn't reconnect. But you never know. I just think that I could see Wilson doing that because I think he's been humbled, and I think he knows that Pete knows how to do an offense that will work for him. So he's willing to play under that for his last few years, so that he doesn't look like a scrub again, like he did in Denver.
Yeah, he's gonna do something. I think it was the Ballers or Dynasty Nerds or somebody was joking like he better do something. He doesn't have any time left. He can't rebuild.
Yeah, right. What's he gonna do if he doesn't do something right? He's got nowhere to go after that. He's gonna be just like Aaron Rodgers right now, who's sitting there with nothing really to show for it. His last two seasons
totally.
are shit, He doesn't want to leave, even though I think if he had a good season, I think he would be easily retired right now. Do you think that the loss that the Chiefs took had anything to do with Travis Kelce coming back?
No, I don't know. I think it's just like the thirst for greatness or something. He's LeBron Jamesing it.
He's LeBron Jamesing it. That's funny. You think he's going to be as bad as LeBron, or stay as good as LeBron is, or you think he's going to be worse, like fall off? Because LeBron's actually able to play like not to the same level he was before, but still like a higher level player.
Everybody falls off at some point. What's the saying? Father Time is undefeated. Everybody does.
It's true.
Just how do you go out? I like the value on Garendo in this round. I think if I had to place it, I say he has a 70% chance of being the RB2 there behind McCaffrey insecurity.
I agree. I think McGrando's a steal right there. And then with what's going on with McCaffrey, what is going on with McCaffrey is going to be a huge, deal for him and his value, especially in this type of league. Like you said, another guy too, like Blake Corum, we just talked about. That's a player that for me, he took Neal as a rookie, I think, and he took Gordon. I think I probably, instead of taking both those rookies, I probably would have taken Blake Corum to handcuff my Kyren Williams player right there if I was Luke. And the only reason I say that is because I want to have that handcuff opportunity in case something happens to Kyren, because Blake Corum will be like bell cow in that offense if Kyren's hurt. And so I would have wanted 100%. To protect myself. And Luke said that he's new with Bestball, so that might help him for future reference, brother. Like in Bestball, handcuffs, to me, Bestball handcuffs are more valuable than they are in like your standard leagues. Same thing with stacks. Bestball, stacks, and handcuffs, to me, value higher.
This will make you proud, Shawnee, but I got to quote Connor because I believe the same way. But in best ball, if you're picking McCaffrey and you're using that pick on him and he goes down, your odds diminish. Even if you have Garendo, just losing your freaking third or fourth round pick, you take a big step back.
Absolutely. But let's look at the Kyren Williams and Blake Corum opportunity. With the way that, we know that he likes to run in that offense with one running back. And if Kyren Williams goes down and Blake Corum is behind him, you're looking at, okay, I've got a player that is also in the top 10 now. You know what I mean? Like you're still at a top 10, top 15 running back, or at least a RB2, so top 24. That's going to save your league.
It definitely has its pros and cons.
Yeah.
All these running backs came out of somewhere.
Connor is like a pessimist to the core. You know what I'm saying? Like Connor is the guy who thinks that no matter what you do, you can't stop the world from ending, kind of guy. So like, I don't think Connor really, he's like, oh, well, if your player goes down, your season's done anyway. I don't care what doesn't matter. Anything else, nothing else matters. Your whole season's done. No. If your one player goes down and you draft properly, you can survive.
I think your odds diminish. I think at running back it's a little bit more forgiving, but like if we're talking about like look at last year, I had a whole bunch of Nico Collins and he went down for like 3-4 weeks and I never recovered. I won some games in the later half of the season, but I lost like all 4 of those weeks because I had Rice and Nico and they both went down and it was boom, brutal.
Yeah, no, I definitely I definitely know that injuries can kill you, but at the same time, if you prepare for them and as best as you can save yourself also. And when you're talking the 14th round in the draft, like you're not going to draft a player in the 14th round. A lot of times it's going to win you a league anyway. So why not take a guy that could help you potentially save a league?
Yeah,
All
what's
right.
cool is that
This league is moving forward. We're in the 15th round. We're getting to that hour 15 mark. So what do you say we look to go through the rest of this round, and we'll pick a team, and then we'll see which team we think is the best team going forward, at least through 15 rounds, and then we can do our drawing
yep,
and call this podcast an episode. What do you say to that, huh?
100%. Let's do it.
Awesome. So looking at it now, I know we still got 4 picks left. I'm just going to kind of glance through them all and double check everything that I'm looking at here and see if my attitude has changed at all towards what team I like the most. And I have to say that I think I have changed my opinion, and I am going to lean towards Luke's team again now and go with Luke McKay, because I really do think that now that he's backed up his running back position to an extent, I like his depth at receiver with Judy, Waddle, Pearsall, Downs. I think those 4 picks in a row was a really, really solid set of picks for him. So I'm going to lean that route. I think he's going to back up his tight end position, which is his only downfall right now. As long as he takes care of that, I do think that this man is my winner.
So I want to give a shout out. I agree with you. I've been watching Luke's team this whole draft. I love the Charbonnet pick. Ollie Gordon, I think it is. Like I said, he's taking shots at these rookie running backs. One of them's going to hit. Who's to say we don't have another Bucky Irving situation here where it comes from the later rounds? So I definitely dig Luke's team. I want to give a shout out to Jenny B, who I was watching her accumulate these wide receivers in the later rounds, and I was like, these are all wide receivers that I would take. Myers, Jennings, and Darnell Mooney, maybe even Hollywood Brown. That could be a great return at what round is that? 14. I didn't like the Mostert pick. I think Jenny's picking some dinosaurs here, and I'd rather take the shots on the rookies.
I like the Brian Robinson pick, but yeah, I'm with you on that. The Mostert, Eckler, I think are the 2 that I would shy away from. But otherwise, I'd like the Brian Robinson and all the receivers you mentioned.
Yeah, I would have taken Benson, Gordon, Garindo, Blake Corum that you mentioned, maybe even Jalen Wright over Mostert. Well, definitely. I don't even think I would have taken Mostert now.
Yeah, I think Mostert, just not knowing where he's going to land as far as a team at this point, it's hard to take him at this point for me.
And then Gooden over here in the 5 spot. I mean, we've been watching his team too, but he passed on Pitts and Tyler Warren and Freiermuth and Keaton and Schultz and even Komet, who I think is a great value there. He passed on all of them and took a rookie, highly touted Loveland. I hear he's great, but we'll see how that pans out. And now he's got tight end insecurity back up with Jatavian Sanders.
And there's a guy in that group that you didn't mention that, in my opinion, should be ahead of them all is Cade Otton. The people are sleeping on Otton like crazy right now, but I think Cade Otton,
he feels secure.
Top guy in this league, and I'm surprised he's not getting the love.
He feels secure. So there is a few tight ends out there. Like there's one in the news today. I won't say the name because he's on the board, but there's somebody in the news that might get traded, and it would be a great opportunity for him, no matter where he goes. Wink, wink. So he lost me because he doesn't have the tight end security. So as far as a favorite team, I love the Scatterboo, the Hawkinson. I'm gonna be okay with the Bucky Irving, and I'm gonna go with Jay Morris.
There we go. I like it. It's a good call, man. I definitely think that it was a solid move there. Jay Morris did do a good job of getting that Debo Daniel stack, like we were talking about earlier in the draft. And this, so he literally put it all into action, like right after we talked about it. So I think that's a good pick up there. All you guys did a pretty good job. I don't see any team out there that I would just be like, oh my God, you took 5 tight ends to start out. But other than that, I think you guys all did a really solid job drafting here. It wasn't like there was one team that just like pokes you in the face as the greatest team for sure. So it's really even across the board, in my opinion. Luke had one question or one statement here, which makes a lot of sense based on what we talked about. He said that he almost took Gurendo and Corum, and then was wondering if we would lean that way over the rookies instead of those two guys. And we talked about it, Luke, like you heard earlier. I would have probably just gone the 1-in-1 route. I would have taken one of Gurendo, or in your case, I probably would have taken Corum because I had the Kyron Williams, so I would have taken that handcuff, and I would have gone him, and then I would have gone one of the rookies. And that's probably how I would have personally done it. But, not to say that you did it wrong, because, there's so many good backs in this rookie class right now. Those two backs could easily be starters, where I told you to take a backup and you got an actual starter. So, we could be egging on my face here.
Yes.
In a few months.
That's what I was going to say. What I look at here with these two rookies, I mean, they're not like your premier rookies, but they do have a shot at performing depending on landing spot. So I would see them both as like a 60%, winning scratcher. Where I see like these backups like Corum and Gurendo, I see them more down at like the 35% value. So I would probably rather take some of my favorite rookies there, and I can't see the board, but that's a pretty solid couple dart throws.
Yeah, no, I think he did. Like I said, I mean, I maybe lean a little bit more towards players I know, and I'm just not as up to speed on the rookie class as I probably should be at this point. So, that might have a little bit of the reason why my opinion is what it is. But, it's not like what you did was wrong by any means. So don't feel bad about it. It's just the way I lean is all. So, yeah, man, I think that was an awesome time. We got through a nice, good 15 rounds with everybody. We really appreciate all you guys being on here. And what we're going to do is give you guys, because you guys are so awesome to jump in this league for us, is we're going to go ahead and give you guys a giveaway right now so that we can see what you guys are going to win. Alex, why don't you explain to them the prize that they are going to receive for being such great Ballsville citizens today?
Yeah, no problem. So we're just giving away a free mini league entry, which is what you're playing now. We had another fast draft for the 210 league, Ghosts. That one's already done. So right now, all we have is very few spots open for League 209, the clouded ones. And this league right here marks, the end of the 9th league of the division. So we're going to give you a free entry. You can jump right into the slow draft for 209, or you can just follow us along. Maybe as soon as Wednesday, we'll be opening up the 300 division for the mini leagues. And then that leaves us with division 300 and 400. And everyone's going crazy for March Madness right now. I don't blame anybody, but when you come back to Bestball, we'll be here with the 300 division open and ready to roll. So that's the goal, and you can use your free entry.
Cyborg has a pretty awesome Bestball bracket that he manages. One of our buddies, Cyborg, that's in this thread. So if you guys are in our leagues and stuff, these got the links are posted there for us in our threads and our Discords. So you guys feel free to reach out to him if you don't have access to that, to get a hold of that link so you guys can jump in. It's going to be a really awesome time. So let's pull up the little spinner ball here, baby, and see what we got. So this is all 12 individuals that were in the draft, guys, sitting on the spin wheel. And as you can see, they have a nice green little mini league football right behind them that Alex will send them a DM so that they have their entry into the next league that they want to join when the time comes. And this is all just to say thank you guys for being citizens and wanting to jump in and enjoy our draft today. So here we go. Let's go ahead and get the spin going, baby. Boom, 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 boom. And where's it going to stop? Nobody knows. It's coming around and looking like it might be K-Doggity Dog. Is it David? Oh, it's David K-Doggity Dog. Oh, my God. Look at that.
Heck yes. That's
all right.
He's a Trevor, too. So congratulations. I'll send you your freebie in your mail.
Oh, wait, he's a Trevor. Well, let's respin it. No, I'm just kidding. Good job, Trevor.
No, that's cool, man. That's cool. We like giving stuff away. we've done multiple freebies already, and all right, here's a little sneak peek for those of you that followed the pod tonight. When 300 opens, it will have our first mini game of the season, which we'll probably rename a bonus game to avoid all the confusion. Our first bonus
Yes, that
game
should
of the
be. Yes, we
season.
should change that into something other than mini games. Anything
Okay,
other
so
than
our bonus game 101, just like last year, is going to be our draft predictor. Now that the combine's done, we're going to start opening it up for you guys to come in, and when you join a league for the 300 division, you gain entry. It'll be posted in your league once everything's done and everyone's paid up and ready to roll. And you just join up, and it's a text game, and you're just going to give like where you think certain players are going to land. It might be like Cam Scattaboo, and you're going to be like, all right, he's going to land on this team. Sorry, scratch that. He's going to be taken at this pick. And then if you're within that range, you get a couple points. If you hit it dead on, you get more points. And then we add up all your points, and the winner gets like a free, like, X amount of dollars or a package with more freebies and stuff like that. So we try to deliver a good prize depending on how many people play. So join the league, you'll be invited.
Mm-hmm. That's right, baby. We always are trying to do new things for you guys here in Ballsville. So thank you guys so much for being here with us. We really appreciate you guys coming along for this quick little impromptu bonus pod episode. On behalf of myself, Sklem, our good buddy Alex, El Presidente, aka Westlex on Sleeper, and then Scott, our co-host, who was here earlier, aka Ludes for Sale, who is in the middle of a wonderful
Sorry about Venom
right now.
Sorry, Scott. I tried, bro.
Oh man, well, I'm looking forward to asking him how that movie review will be on Wednesday when we see him for our regular episode. Guys who want to join us for that, it's going to be Wednesday at 5:30 p.m. our standard time here, 5:30 Pacific Standard Time, I should say. Make sure everybody understands that on the East Coast it is 8:30. And Scott will explain to everybody how great that movie is that he's watching right now. Oh man. All right, thanks again for being here, everybody. You guys have yourselves a very Ballsville night, and we will see you soon.